Welcome to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be talking about Navus from Navitus Parfums, so stay tuned for that. If you like the content, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. Navus was released in 2019, and as many of you, or perhaps even all of you know, this is from Stephen from Red Essence's fragrance line, and I've been very curious about it. I know a lot of people have been curious about it, and I'm going to do a review of this one, Navus, today. As full disclosure, I was actually sent a discovery kit, and so there is that, but of course, I'm going to keep all opinions my own, so let's get into it. Navus is definitely the freshest composition out of all of the discovery kit. It opens up with this really beautiful, crisp, realistic, bitter grapefruit, and if you've watched my channel for a while, you should know or would know that I really enjoy grapefruit and I really enjoy bitter notes as well. So I like the note of bitter grapefruit and I really enjoy things like bitter yuzu. And this one has a very, very prominent bitter grapefruit in the opening. Underneath that, there is a sort of freshness and a slight sweetness with a green vibe. Personally, I find the opening to be very enjoyable. It's bright, it's green, and I think it's a very mass-appealing fragrance. As this one dries down, the bitter grapefruit definitely takes a back seat. It does stay in the fragrance into the mid, but definitely not as a main player. And what emerges then is more of a green, somewhat fruity fragrance. Still maintains a lot of that freshness, but it doesn't have that really bitter dynamic. I wouldn't describe this as a particularly complex fragrance. It is a fairly straightforward freshie. It does have that interesting bitterness in the opening and into the mid, but that's certainly not something that stays throughout the whole life of this fragrance. There is something in the dry down that has a sweet, almost jelly-like feel to it. It's really kind of strange to describe it in terms of the way it feels, but I almost physically get a sensation of a jello-y-like vibe. I think that is coming from some of the fruits or the fruitiness, and it does smell very nice. As far as performance goes, this one does perform decently, especially for a freshie. I got about 6 hours longevity, a little bit more over that 6 hour mark, so this isn't an extremely long-lasting fragrance, but it is very fresh in its composition, so 6 hours is actually pretty good. And it is fairly prominent. It does have some nice projection for the first 2 hours or so. After that point, it definitely does taper down a little bit more, closer to a skin scent. Not quite, but it definitely does sit much closer to the skin. Overall, this is a very versatile, easy to wear fragrance. I could see wearing this in many different occasions and definitely good for the warmer weather. Now, I have heard a lot of people compare this one to Neo, and I will say, frankly, I haven't smelled Neo, so I can't actually confirm or deny that claim. But if this is what Neo smells like or similar to this, then Neo is also pretty amazing in my opinion, but I'm going to have to get my nose on it sometime in the future, just because that comparison has been made. I personally don't really get a lot of the Elysium vibe from this one. Elysium has more of like, to me, a lemon opening, and it definitely has more of an ethereal kind of futuristic, something about it gives me that sort of futuristic feel, and there is definitely a fairly fresh, prominent vetiver note. I don't really get that vetiver at all with this fragrance. It's more of a green, fresh, starts out nice and bitter with that grapefruit, very nice and photorealistic, and then it dries down into a jelly-like freshie. So all in all, I can't really comment on that, but I will say again, it doesn't really come off as Elysium to me, so it is definitely separate from that. I do really enjoy this one, and it is definitely one of my favorite from the sample pack. Definitely very easy to wear, very easy to enjoy. I think this is a mass appealing fragrance, and it's done quite well. Very nicely blended, definitely smells like quality ingredients, and in my opinion, it's really nice. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Leave a comment down below. Have you tried anything from Navitus Parfums? And if so, what were your thoughts? And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.